So you get the report card, you open it, you look at the grades, you look at the comments, but there's one important piece of information that you are overlooking. Let's chit chat. The important piece of information that you are overlooking on your child's report card is their GPA. Before we get into this topic, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. GPA is an acronym that stands for Grade Point Average. It is the average of all of your students' grades that they have earned from the time they enter high school. GPAs are calculated every 2 quarters. These 2 quarters are called semesters. Quarters 1 and 2 is semester 1. Quarters 3 and 4 is semester 2. A 4 is an A 3 is a B, a 2 is a C, a 1 is a D, 0 is an F. GPAs do come in the form of a decimal, even though there will be numbers that follow the end of the GPA like 2.357, 3.68. It's generally the first number, the whole number, that determines the letter grade. So even if the student has a 3.99, it does not round up. That 3 is the determining letter grade. You can't take a 3.99 and round it up to a 4.0. If it's a 3.99, it's a 3, which means that the child has a B. However, there is such thing as a B plus, B minus, and just a regular B. If you are not looking for this detail, it is easy to overlook, and parents that aren't aware of a GPA and its purpose, they will easily overlook this information. GPAs are important in the educational arena because if you tell me what your GPA is, I will immediately know what type of student you are. I will immediately know what type of work ethics, work habits the student has. GPAs play a very big role in your student's ability to go to college. Colleges have admission requirements, and within those admission requirements is a GPA requirement. Students that fail to meet the requirement for the college that they are trying to get admitted to will more than likely find that their admission will get declined, unless there are other factors such as their SAT scores, extracurricular activities, and other things that the colleges look at. But typically, the GPA plays a major role in your child get accepted into their school of choice. GPAs do not end with the student getting accepted into college. If a student would like to go to grad school, there could possibly be a GPA requirement there as well. When a student is in their senior year of college, they will have the opportunity to have interviews from industries that come in to interview students that are getting ready to graduate. If a student doesn't have the GPA that these colleges are looking for, they will miss out on the opportunity to interview with their company. Even after college and careers have started, if you wish to switch jobs, sometimes you will have to submit your transcript and put on your application what your GPA was when you were in college. So as we can see, GPAs start in high school, and it has the ability to follow you throughout your careers and any endeavor that you would like to take on after you graduate from school. Different schools have different GPA requirements. Some GPAs are more rigorous when you are looking at schools that are more competitive to get into. When you are looking at teams on television playing different sports, football, basketball, typically you are looking at top schools. And these schools are schools that generally have a high application rate for kids that want to go to their schools. This makes it more competitive for students to get admitted into these schools. And you are more than likely looking at a school that is going to require a higher GPA for their students to get admitted to their schools. The students that get admitted into these competitive schools, they know how to play the GPA game, and they know what classes they need to take in order to manipulate their GPAs. And yes, it is possible to manipulate your GPA. You just need to know what to do in order to do this. This is what I like to call the GPA game. In high school, there are different levels of classes that students can take. And there are also different programs that the kids can enter that will help them boost up their GPAs. Students have the option to select standard classes, honors, AP. If you're at a school that has an international baccalaureate program, also known as IB, that's another level of classes. And then there are also other classes within the school that kids can take, like Project Lead the Way, that also has an effect on the student's GPA. Students that take classes above standard will see that they have a GPA that is weighted. A weighted GPA is scaled based on the difficulty of the course. The more challenging the course, the more weight will be added to the GPA. The weighted GPA scale is different from a standard GPA scale, and it has rankings of 0 to 5.0. A weighted GPA indicates to a college that the child has taken a more rigorous course and was able to successfully pass it. A mid-level class adds 0.5 points to a GPA, and the high-level courses will add 1.0 points to a GPA. And these points are added before the GPA is calculated. This is why students take AP honors classes and participate in programs such as Cambridge and IB programs. It strengthens their GPA. Because they have been planning and they know what college they want to go to, they already know what the admission requirements are, and they know if those requirements are strenuous. So in preparation to apply to these schools, they are taking classes that are going to give their GPAs that boost so that they will be able to compete with other students that are applying to the school. Colleges will ask for an unweighted GPA, and an unweighted GPA is a GPA that does not have the extra weight added to them due to the advanced classes that the students have taken, but it is the weighted GPA that will get the job done. People, this is the method of getting into schools that require higher GPAs. It is important that we challenge our students to take classes that are going to push them and allow them the opportunity to compete. Just because a school is a HBCU does not mean that the GPA requirement is lower. Howard University looks for a GPA of 3.7. A&T State University looks for a GPA of a 3.2. Winston-Salem State SU requires a GPA of a 3.2 as well. So don't think that because a school is a HBCU that their requirements are going to be lower. These schools have a high number of people that are applying to get into them every day, therefore making it competitive for students to enter. Contrary to popular belief, your child does not have until 12th grade to get the job done. Students basically have until the end of 11th grade to demonstrate their work ethic, their grades, have their GPA where they want to have it, and to be in a position to apply to the college of their choice. At the beginning of 12th grade, students have already begun the process of applying to the schools of their choice. By the time Christmas comes around, most of them have already received their acceptance letters and have made a decision on what school they will attend. So basically, their senior year is just about finishing up the year. Some colleges will ask for students to turn in their final grades, but some colleges don't. This means that students have to start high school with a goal in mind, knowing what it is they want to do, knowing what school they want to go to, knowing the requirements of their chosen school. It's a dangerous game for a child to go into high school and flunk the first year or two and then expect to go to college. I have seen it too often where students get to 12th grade and then they have an epiphany and then they decide that they want to go to college, but their GPAs are very low and they haven't taken the required classes that they need to take in order to meet the admission requirements. This will possibly result in the child not going to college at all, or they will attend a community college. And although there's nothing wrong with going to a community college, if the child does not have a certain GPA, sometimes it's around 2.6, 2.8, the child is going to have to back up and take a lot of other courses before they get to the classes that they actually need in their major. This can add a considerable amount of time to the student trying to graduate and reach their goals. By the time the kids get done taking the extra courses that they need to take in order to get into their curriculum, they will find that they have spent about 4 to 5 years in college, which is about the amount of time that it takes to get a bachelor's degree. So while there is nothing wrong with going to community college, nothing at all, some career paths only require an associate's degree. But if the child is not able to enter the community college and get right on the course that's been laid out for their curriculum, then they will find that it's going to take an extended amount of time to reach their goal. The more classes that a student takes is the more challenging for that GPA to change. The student can have anywhere between 16 to 24 classes on their GPA. Those classes that the students take initially 9th, 10th grade year are basically the foundation of the GPA. The more classes that the student takes, the harder it is for their GPA to change. So if the student goes in strong and starts off in work and they have A's and B's, preferably no C's, that GPA is going to be a 3.0 or better. And it is really going to require that the student fail classes after that in order for that GPA to drop. The student does need to stay on task and make sure that they're getting their work done, but the foundation of the GPA has been set. Likewise, for students that begin with failing, if the student starts the school year off with failing and they do this for a year or two, that GPA is going to be low. And by the time they get to 10th, 11th grade, it's going to be harder for their GPA to change and move up because there's so many classes that's already there providing a foundation for that GPA. I would like to reiterate the importance of students going in and doing what they got to do, get that GPA started, get that GPA stacked so that they can go to college, if indeed that is their dream. And if indeed that is not their dream, I would encourage you to check out my video on Black jobs. I would even take it a little further and say that the preparation or preparing our kids for their post-secondary careers does not begin in high school. It begins in elementary school. In order for your child to be able to take these higher level classes that is going to be used to boost their GPAs, there has to be a strong foundation for them to be able to take and succeed in these classes. Taking the classes is merely not enough. The child must pass them. The same way in which a weighted course can boost a child's GPA, that same weight will be used to calculate if a child fails, and that weight will also bring that child's GPA down. So it works both ways. Therefore, it is required for us as parents to be vigilant with our children's education from the beginning. We have to be involved. We need to set expectations for our children so that they will learn and understand how to meet those expectations. With your expectations in place, your child will know what is expected of them, and they are going to try to meet those expectations. If you don't have any expectations in place, then that's what the child is going to give you. Nothing. So expectations are going to play a critical role in this process. As a parent, isn't it our goal to get our children to go further and do more in life than we did? If indeed that is the goal, then we have to be involved and we have to be there to lead and guide them. In order for us to lead and guide them, we have to know and understand what the pathway is for us to get them there. So we're going to start with this knowledge of GPA. So the next time we look at our child's report card, we're not only going to look at the grades and the comments and stop. We're also going to check our child's GPA. And if their GPA is not given what it needs to be given, we're going to sit down and we're going to have a discussion with our child, and we're going to have to discuss some alternative measures, because we're not going to stop until our children reach their goals, because we're going to make sure that our children are prepared to do what they need to do in order to achieve. Thank you for watching the video. Have a nice day.